Hey, what's up YouTube? Scabadger here, and we are back on day 26 of our 100 player fun little series. So, as we can see, my capital is now in the middle of Australia. We moved that back from Wano, and the reason we moved it back to there was so we could make sure that we provided a high level of morale to our core provinces in New Zealand. Even though we are constructing and finishing off getting level 5 fortifications in all of our core provinces, it's still going to be really important and really goddamn vital that we keep a high level of morale here, so moving our capital back a little bit closer should help us maintain that. Now you'll notice I am at war with 4 players. That was a bit of an accident. I accidentally attacked East Siberia. Didn't mean to. Accidents happen. Basically what happened was he had right away with National China, so his troops could pass through National China's provinces, and I was moving in to attack a National Chinese province, and it turns out that literally right as the East Serbian troop was passing over the central point of the province I was trying to capture, my guys walked in there and captured it. Now East Serbia didn't have right away with me, and considering he was still in range of that dot, his troops then ended up attacking me. So stuff like that happens from time to time, and there's not much you can do about it. So I mean, yeah. Instead of waiting to return to peace with this AI, we're going to do it the force away, and we're going to go in there and take him out. So, day 26 first though. We're second on the newspaper. We also had the third largest economy. Now the largest goes to Italy, who is the biggest player in the game, but that makes sense. He controls all this territory up here in Europe, and it's pretty well centralized around his core province in Italy. So it's pretty easy for him to spread his morale and make sure he has high production everywhere. South Africa, who's in 4th, has the second highest, just in front of me, which is actually pretty impressive considering I'm 100 VP points ahead of him. He also is in a very similar situation to King, and that is that his core provinces and all of his territory is down here in Africa. Mine, on the other hand, which I'm actually doing really well to be in 3rd place, just behind him, is spread out all along up here. And we'll notice that Rog, who's in 3rd, actually has a very similar problem. Considering he's only about 40 VP points behind me, I expect him to have a bigger economy than what he does. It is about, 30,000 tons per day behind mine, but that's because his core's up here. He has all this territory up here that has a really high morale, but then he's got all this stuff down south. So he'll be suffering from the same issues as me, which is why I've moved my capital slightly higher up into Australia. So that will help to alleviate some of that, and yeah, that should be good to see. So, that's the plan right there. Move the capital slightly up, hopefully lift morale, and make it easier to maintain and get that higher and stronger economy. So we are still investing heavily in our economy. If we come into here and we have a look at what we're building, we can see that we are still building a lot of upgrades to our economy, especially in the food area. I want to get this up to at least 400 per hour before I start producing troops again. Now I might start chucking some aircraft in there pretty soon, and some ships, some battleships, some more expensive stuff. Yeah, the only reason I want to get those underway is they take whole days to produce, and then even, days, weeks to get into position. So I want to start those sooner rather than later. But the reason I want to get up to 400 is, over the last couple of days, we've been really lucky with the number of capitals we've been able to capture. If we come up here and we have a look at even some of our non-core territories, like in Borneo, Philippines, hell, even Japan, it's all around 96, up to the, up in the hundreds, which is really, really goddamn good. But the thing is, we're not going to be able to sustain this. If we have a look at that, with the minus 32 and the minus 20 with the 6, it should be, in theory, around 55. That's where I expect this to rest. And the only reason it's up so high is because we've been able to capture capital after capital. And when the morale drops, and it will drop, our economy is going to drop with it. In some areas here, a drop of 50% will account for nearly a 30% loss in our economy. Our production will drop by 30%. So, if we lose 30% of our food production, oh god, we're going to lose about 15,000 food per day. I think I got that right? I don't know. You guys will tell me if I'm wrong. So we're going to lose about 15,000 food per day once our economy and our morale actually settles down and rests where it should be. And that there is not good at all. As we can see at the moment, we're producing 6,000 more food than we're using. and we need to keep that up, and we need to keep it high. It's not too big of a deal when the morale drops from the other areas, because, I mean, you know, we're not going to die if we run out of metal, but if we run out of food and that gets extremely negative, we have an issue. So, yeah, we're going to have to be really careful about that and making sure that we do not overproduce the amount of troops we need, because when our morale settles, and it will settle, and when it does settle, it is going to hurt. Like, I mean, this province here, you know, should be at a -70. It should be around 30. When this province settles, there's a chance that it could rebel. So I need to make sure that I do the absolute utmost to boost my production, boost my economy right now, so that when it does come time, I can afford to build fortifications in all of these territories up here in the north. Now, hopefully, over the next coming days, I can continue to capture some capitals. Like, I mean, we have this capital right here for East Siberia that we should be able to capture, and that will keep us going just a little bit longer. But honestly, my economy is a ticking time bomb right now. If my morale drops and my people are not happy, I'm not going to be able to produce, and I'm not going to be able to finish this game strong. And to remedy that, the only way to really remedy that would be to move my capital further north, somewhere back up to like Wano, or even to the Philippines. Philippines could be a good option, or somewhere down here into Indochina. The only issue with that, though, is then it drops the morale in my core territories. And the morale dropping in my core territories is even worse, considering these produce 300% more resources than any of my other territories. My core is vital, and it needs to stay at that 100%. So, I mean, I've got a little bit of a balancing act to do, and I'm, like, I mean, it should be fine. I'm not going to die anytime soon, I hope. But I've just got to make sure that I keep our morale high, and make sure it does not get the opportunity to drop. So, yeah, bit of a juggling act, really. So, as we can see down here in Indochina, we're finishing off National China. Now, he has only this anti-air troop in the region, and that is, you know, giving us a little bit of problem. We are moving some artillery into position to deal with it, and it is on fire control aggressive, which you get with high command. So as soon as it gets into range, it will open fire. On that note, actually, I'm going to move that unit out of there, and I'm going to get that heading... Oh, wait, did that have... No, that didn't have artillery with it. Moving it back over to here. We've got to clear out this little peninsula down here, and the problem with this peninsula is there's actually a massive amount of troops down here, which is going to make clearing it really, really hard. Before he went inactive, this player down here had a stack of 32, and although that has dissipated over some of the area, the majority of them are still in here, down here, and these troops that you can't see around here. So we're going to have to be really, really careful about that. We have got our aircraft out dealing with smaller targets and just dwindling them down so our troops can march on in. But we've nearly done securing this main area down here, and we basically have an border with South India at the moment. Further up in the north, we can see that we did end up at war with East Serbia like we talked about later on, and I only really have 2 infantry units available that can deal with this. Luckily for us, however, East Serbia, being the AI it is, does not have any aircraft and is unlikely to have any artillery. The best he has is fully upgraded militia, which even going up against my not militia but level 4 infantry sucks. So, I mean, yeah. Max militia versus level 4, it doesn't stand a chance. Anyway, so we are getting there at the moment. Can I return fire on that unit there before it gets out of range? No, I can't. Anyway, we'll keep marching forwards, and how long until that opens fire again? There was a massive stack of troops here somewhere, and I've got to be really careful I don't run into it. I think I may have. Anyway, there's some artillery in there that is returning fire. Now, last time I saw the large stack of artillery that these players had in the area, it was down over here, bombing out its capital, East Yakutu's capital. So it is possible that it had moved down to here. I'm just going to have to keep a good eye out for it. If it is that, I can always move this artillery in, but it's very likely I'll just retreat and send in the Air Force to bomb it out, especially if I can't deal with it. But we are slowly pushing north, and we're soon going to be marching on these provinces here if they don't rebel and join their former owners soon. So, yeah, I expect to see a lot more provinces of National China and this guy rebel. If we have a look around, because I've been capturing their capitals day after day after day, most of their provinces are on 0 morale. Well, that one there. That's pretty high. That's 5%. All I expect to see is a lot of these provinces should rebel, and I shouldn't have to go over there and deal to them myself. At least that is the goal, and that is what we want to see happen. So if we come around the rest of the world, we can see that our battle group is moving into position, and it is nearly there. We have set this up to make it go around the coast, and I've given it some, well, not really deception, but it is deception, I guess. I planned it out so it heads around over to here and parks under that. The reason I'm doing that is it's very likely that our enemies will get revealed all on our troop placements, and they will know where we're heading. So at this point, the real intention is I want to move this up into here, and then I want to bomb that out before it gets away. So I suspect that King Kong will keep that in the area, bombing out these troops and retreat it at the last second. But if I can get my battleships up there first, I can score some good blows. Considering my battleships can deal 4 damage to enemy infantry, it's possible that when I attack this, I could at least kill 2 artillery pieces or 1 anti-air piece, which is actually a pretty decent blow. So that's the plan right there. Ooh, don't march into that. Yeah, you're not gonna win that one, sadly. Unless, what's there? Oh, could launch interceptors and deal a little damage, but the problem is it would only be a little damage. I'd probably take more than I'd be able to deal. If we have a look at this in a moment, this is where I need tactical bombers. I've got some on my next spell group that's coming over. If we actually go and have a look at that, that would be perfect right now if I had this battle group, but I only just got level 4 tactical bombers, so I can only just equip them, yeah. So, they were there right now. South Africa would be fine, that little bit of combat. Anyway, so, yeah, if we have a look at that, the infantry can deal 1.5, so between the two, that's a maximum of 3, and the anti-tank can deal 2, so there's a maximum potential there for it to deal 5 damage to any attacking planes. At the moment, only my interceptors can attack, and at max, presuming they get lucky with the RNG, they can only deal 3 damage, so I'm eventually going to lose. Now, considering at the same time, it's unlike I cannot replace aircraft on this carrier group, so I have to be really careful with how I use them. They're probably going to be restricted just to scouting operations. The tactical bombers, though, they're no good, just sitting on the deck scouting. So I'm going to probably end up using them to attack targets like this, which is the plan. So that's happening there at the moment. If we come across a little further to the west, we can see that Spain has pushed forwards and nearly controls all of Libya's core territories. In fact, it probably controls over half. Yeah, Libya only has 1 major city left, so it's going to be really important that we do put in an effort and we try to defend them. Luckily, however, for Libya, he still controls enough of his economy to be able to successfully produce troops and units, controlling a few food territories, his rare production, oil, and some goods. He's still not doing too bad, and he's still not out of the fight yet. I can't wait to get troops in there, eh? If Spain is using as much militia as our reveal will say, he's going to be a pretty easy target. So there's that there. Now, also, if we come up further north, we can see that Quebec has landed in England, which is controlled by Italy, and is probably dealing some damage, which would be good. This will relieve a little bit of pressure from us, and it will force King Kongo to send some of his aircraft up north to deal to that. And I suspect that he will deal to that very efficiently. But while his aircraft are up there, they're not down here hunting us out. So with that battle group that I do have down here, once this group here retreats, I've got a few things I'd like to do. I can run it up the coast and bomb and shell at enemy troops, but the first things I want to do is remove King's control of the seas and then start targeting these rocket units. So these are all positioned in Italy, and they can't do any damage to ships, so I'm pretty safe. So what I'll do is I'm just going to run along and I'm just going to shoot them up a bit. My interceptors and naval bombers can be deployed to help deal with those, and considering these have no defense against those, I'll probably do that. So I'll run them up along the coast, fly out missions, and they can just bomb them and then return. And that's going to be, yeah, so that's the plan right there. In South America, I'll give you guys a little bit of time with the morale map off. In South America, we can see that the Americans are grouping up their troops and preparing to cross over. Once they do cross over, I think this will probably be the tipping point. I can't imagine Spain and Italy will have enough troops to deal with that sort of invasion. They could do absolutely fine. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but there's a lot of troops to deal with right there, and they have anti-air protection. The only thing that could really save them at this point is a shit ton of rockets and a lot of activity, as we can see. they're embarking right now. So they're getting onto the ships and getting ready to go. And then they'll meet this group out here. Now this is a very good escort group, with the cruisers having 9 defense against air, and the destroyers also having some pretty goddamn good anti-air defense. You wouldn't want to hit that from the air at all. You'd probably be better off waiting for it to disembark. Further north as well, they're grouping up troops, especially Illinois, and then they assume these will be sent over later on. So there's not really much else more for me to say at this point, I guess. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.